We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Voter fraud. We have put together voter fraud. We have put together voter fraud, the most extensive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. What are you thinking about on this Sunday night? Folks, it's Sunday Night Live. We're here with the preparedmind.club, subscribestar.com, and all of YouTube. That's right, you too can join us on Sunday Night Live on YouTube. And hey, if you've got a question, a comment, a thought, an idea, some history, a quote, whatever you've got on your mind, hit that super chat button right up there. Make a donation to the GTFB and SB fund. That's the Get the Fuck Back and Stay Back in it. Right? No running off to the RMZ, John. No getting a one-way ticket to the South Pacific ever again. No siree, Bob. You have to stay here and fight it out with the rest of us. And I'm dedicated to that. And I'm dedicated, folks, to this channel, just as you have been dedicated to participating, right? Freedom, folks, is the name of the game. Being prepared is the way to ensure it happens. How easy would it be to control you if you didn't have food and you had to rely on the government and stick your hand out and say, geez, government, I sure could use some food. Well, only if you take the Jim Jones juice and only if you do as you're told. Oh, okay, I'll take the food. If you're a prepper, you got your own food. You got your own water, right? If you've got your own self-defense, you can look at the government and say, hey, I don't need your protection. You need my permission because we, the people, we're sovereign, folks. In freedom, in a free country, the government serves us. In a country that is run by tyrants, they think we should serve them. Which are you? And what do you want? Freedom or enslavement? Do you want to be a prepper or do you want to be the prey? Right? And the ultimate carnivores, the ultimate predators in this game are the World Economic Forum, the global elites, who include the ancient aristocrats, who include the banking cartels, who include the super rich corporate controllers, who say you will own nothing and you'll like it. Oh, I don't know about that. I think I've got a problem with that. Folks, we kicked off the show. We're over 200 people live right now, and I want to get over 500. The best way to do that is for you to hit that URL up there, that internet address, and share it. Email, text, get it out there. Send it to people who need to wake the hell up. Tell them to subscribe to this channel, The Prepared Mind, where we talk about what the hell is going on and what you should do to plan for what's coming, right? Let's see. Food factory fires. Yeah, that's a problem. Do you have food? Let's see. Ooh, contaminated water and all over the country. Maybe you should have water filtration. Medical questions like, well, if you want medical treatment, then you better get your Jim Jones juice or you don't get to have medical treatment. You better get, folks, medicine and a physician or veterinarian to help you in times of need that are coming. Having these connections is critical. Do your very best, folks. None of us are going to be 100% prepared. We can just do the best that we can. That's it. That's it. And we can help each other. And that's what the Prepared Mind Network and the R Syndicate is about. Now, the rsyndicate.com, that is put together by Uman. That is his channel, where he will link you to every single prepper channel out there. Right? There it is, right there. We have medicine at the preparedmind.club. We can help set you up with doctors, physicians, supplies, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to get you prepared, folks. Are good times coming or are hard times coming? Well, if you say good times, then Adios, muchachos and muchachas. If you think things are going to get a little tougher, you might want to stay tuned and help others find this channel and other channels like it. Hard times are coming, folks. In a recession, we'll be talking about that. Political shenanigans, we'll be talking about that. Social unrest, you bet that's coming. We've got it, and it's here to stay, and it's going to be used as a tool, just as the Nazis used, folks, social unrest and partisan conflict to gain mastery over the state of Germany, the same way the Soviets, the communists did in Russia and then in China also. Their communist regime under the Chairman Mao, used social unrest and domestic terror to push their programs. Folks, Ronald Reagan, I think one of the most dynamic presidents of all time. Great speaker, could speak to the people, and he spoke in a way that he could discuss very complex topics in a way that the everyday man could find and understand and think about. And this is what he had to say. This is my quote for the show. Now, I know Mr. Skylight loves to do a super chat donation. He hits the super chat donation, puts his quote up, and I've got one I want to start with. And I found this online. Here's the quote. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. My parents gave me freedom. I gave freedom to my sons, and they get to fight now for it as well. We all get to fight for it. It is not guaranteed. And no, it's not. It truly isn't. Freedom is never guaranteed, especially when we have these types of people, folks. These types of people right here.
There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people. These folks are evil.
And all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
This means war.
You wanted to think you need to have weapons to take on the government. You need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons.
We are at war with these people.
What do you think of that, huh? Well, while you contemplate that in the back of your mind, these are topics we discuss all the time. What do you want to talk about? This is your show. It is Sunday night. It is the zoo, and it is up to you. Now, we didn't play this much all week because, we had an election to think about and lots of Nintendo games to discuss. But I want you to take a wild freaking guess. Sponsored by the Jim Jones Juice, folks. Never forget what is happening inside the bodies of Americans and people around the world. Never forget there's a war going on inside of us if you have taken the Jim Jones Juice. Now, an NFL star, Clemson University super athlete, you'll even remember his name because it's such a good NFL name. Adrian Dingle. Guess what, folks? Dead. Age 45. Suddenly dead. All of a sudden. And that's usually it happens. One moment you're alive, the next moment you're dead. Sudden. Well, the cause of the death is the part that we're saying is sudden. Another super athlete. Dead. Was it that we never noticed all the kids getting myocarditis and pericarditis and having clots and kids having heart attacks and fucking strokes and super athletes keeling over and running out of breath? They train their whole lives, train their body to be strong. Cardio, so they can breathe and participate in sports that take an incredible cardiovascular system. for tennis, grueling, batting, bicycling, running up and down the field, track stars, keeling over, can't get their breath. I wonder why. Take a wild freaking guess. It's crazy, folks. And remember, these people. Yeah. It's no problem. Just keep taking this shit, right? No problem. Yeah. The juice booster, 99 out of 100 Americans refuse to drink that shit. Well, can you guess why? You see, even though you and I are here right now, well over 300 of us live and the number climbs, we're all thinking about it. We know what's going on. Well, guess what? Most of America knows as well. They know how bad that shit is. They're scared to death because some of them have taken 1 or 2 injecciones, right? But what about those people that have taken 3, 4, 5, and they keep getting boosters? Well, those are the ones who have no clue what's going on. But for those who took 1 and now they've got some regret, they've got some fear, they wonder what the hell's going on inside. Well, I recommend going to the preparedmind.club and looking up all you can get there. Jolene has done a great job, and thank you again, Jolene. She's always out there. Uman's out there. Kaz is out there. Vaughn is out there. The R Syndicate in the background. But Jolene has put up, there we are. She's put up a lot of information to help you detox, to treat, to remove spike proteins, whatever is out there information-wise at the preparedmind.club. There's a lot of detox stuff, information there. I am no medical doctor. I can't make any recommendations. I don't even play a doctor on TV anymore. I'm just a guy. But like you, I like to pay attention to what the hell is going on. And then I like to ask questions like this. We were told that BLM, not the Bureau of Land Management, but Black Lives Matter. We were told that they were a moral group, a good group, right? Well, guess what? Their leader has been charged with fraud involving fundraisers that were linked to the St. George Floyd riots. How many times have we heard this now? Fraud, and more fraud. How many times have we learned that this seemingly civil rights-oriented movement is really a Marxist and transsexual and Marxist group masquerading as some sort of, pro-rights thing? It's not, they don't want equality, folks. No, they want equity. They want fairness. What is fair, folks? Well, I'll tell you what. Fair is using reality, and fair is using intelligence. And a federal judge, another judge in another ruling, has stepped up and said, Biden, you aren't using your brain. Now, I put in there and say, basically, if you had one. Anyways, federal judge comes out and says that Biden's decree from on high, his royal demand that doctors treat patients based on their gender identity and not on science, is unlawful. Good, folks. Freaks and mental derelicts are not to be encouraged in my world. Freaks and mental derelicts, people with mental disorders. And there's a lot of people with mental disorders out there, serious mental disorders. And they're running around trying to make everyone else accept what they believe. Their little version of reality is, well, I'm a girl. I'm a fire hydrant. I'm a tree trunk. I'm a giraffe. Right? And everyone has to believe it and pretend. Well, I'm a girl. I'm a boy. Now I'm a baby. So you have to give me baby formula and diapers. I mean, the demands are ridiculous. The demand that a doctor, a physician trained in science, medical science, has to accept a trans patient's gender identity and not take into consideration the facts. Unfreaking believable. Well, a judge has ruled that, yeah, that is unfreaking believable. And doctors don't have to do what Biden says. Biden is not king. Biden is not dictator. Biden is not emperor. And Biden is not God. And just the other day, we talked about the judge who said, hey, right, we're well aware of the political crap going on, the political division and divisiveness. Right? They're aware, folks. They know that this is a giant game of corruption being played by the people at the top. Now, once again, this is Sunday Night Live, and it is your chance to hit that super chat button, get your question in, and you, folks, I'll make you famous. Talk about whatever topic you want. If you use a word that, well, social media doesn't like, I'll just exchange it for one of our code words. You know, like Nintendo games for last Tuesday, and Jim Jones juice for the, the bad stuff that's keeling people over. Anyways, folks, we have a huge, huge struggle that's going on. Right? We've got, the president, Biden, thinks he's God, thinks he's emperor. We got a Republican Party, folks, that isn't all Republican. Right? Is the person, Mitt Romney's daughter, is she going to be kicked out of her position of power and authority? Because the Republicans had a massive, massive lead and should have won in a huge red wave landslide. Where did it go? Unbelievable, folks. Well, Trump had something to say. He basically ripped into Mitch McConnell for funding rhinos, for giving in to the Democrats. And he said, hey, he is the worst, referring to Mitch McConnell. Folks, Mitch McConnell also did something that is detestable. Mitch McConnell, Turtles McConnell, so-called Republican, rhino leader of the Senate Republicans, he withheld funding. That's right, folks. There were Republicans out there running in the election against Democrats, not running against other Republicans in a primary. In the main election, running against Democrats, and guess what? McConnell withheld funding, election funding, withheld election funding. Let me say it again. Mitch McConnell withheld election funding from Republicans if they were, that's right, America first, make America great again type candidates. In other words, McConnell hates America first Republicans. And he favors globalist rhino Republicans. If you take his money, right, from the Republican Party, then you better play his game. And that's the game they're playing, folks. They're taking the money that we donate into the Republican Party, we the people, and they're deciding for themselves where they're going to allow it to be spent. We have treason from within our own political ranks. It's very true, folks. All right, I think we've got a super chat donation, and we've got 400 people live right now. That's more than President Biden gets when he comes live on YouTube. Isn't that strange? The world's most popular elected president ever, Joe Biden. And we beat him every single Sunday, folks. Every single Sunday, we get more people live. And we do it for over 2 hours, minimum 2 hours, sometimes more. Hundreds and hundreds of people who want to stay, watch, listen, and learn. Jolene, if we got a question, it is 7-Step Survival with a $4.99 super chat donation. Thank you, man. And he says, found this channel during the Nintendo games. Love it. Keep up the good fight, brother. Awesome satire as well. I tell you what, 7-Step Survival, it is my pleasure. It's my honor to be talking to you and everyone else. I've been on here since December of 2013. Right? And I think so December of 2022 will be our 10th year. I think I did the math right on that. Yeah, it is incredible, folks. Almost 10 years we've been here. Warning, shit's going to hit the fan. Warning, you better get prepared. You better have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means, right? All that. You better watch what's happening. We've got traitors amongst us. We don't have just domestic enemies, international. We've got, or international, yeah, foreign enemies. We have domestic as well. And now we're seeing them rear their ugly heads. Here is a great example of it. Are you ready? George W. Bush, Republican, right? And Barack Obama, definitely a socialist Democrat. They're going to hold conferences this week, back to back, meaning first one and then the other, back to back. Folks, we all learned under George W. Bush that rhinos, Republicans in name only, rhino Republicans are very clever liars and are actually just as globalist as the Democrat socialists. That's right. Let's see, George W. Bush, we had 9/11. The world and all of America was shocked, rocked on its heels, set back. And what did we get for it? I'm not going to question the war, but I'm going to question the Patriot Act. That was passed under George W. Bush. The most unpatriotic legislation I've ever heard of until Barack Obama's Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, which you have to vote for before you can read. Unfucking believable. These two guys. George W. Bush. Guess what they're going to have their conferences on, by the way? Democracy and disinformation. What information? Well, disinformation right here that they don't like, they're going to call disinformation. So, of course, I go at things with the label of satire, bringing humor and a sardonic, sarcastic, cynical attitude to the world that the mainstream media wants to present to us as reality. Folks, these are some sick people. They are not Americans. Well, they may have been born here. Oh, well, wait a minute. Maybe Obama wasn't. We don't know. Tongue in cheek. They may live here in America. Well, kind of. Kind of. These people are dangerous, folks, and powerful. They're so dangerous and so powerful that, well, we've seen quite a bit come from them, haven't we? And not a lot of good. All right. Well, we've got Darcy T checked in with a $50 super chat donation through PayPal. And she says this: good evening, John. Kerry Lake, that would be the Arizona gubernatorial candidate. That election still not done. Kerry Lake pointed out that there didn't seem to be any issues in the Democrat polling stations in Arizona, but the Republican areas kept running out of paper and tabulators went down. Coincidence? Darcy, there is never a coincidence in politics. Never. There is no coincidence. There are no coincidences in life, folks. But I believe that a couple of times it's been described as there are no coincidences, just long odds. Right? What are the odds that in Arizona, while playing Nintendo, right, the people of Arizona would be treated to this type? Well, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you would say the odds of that happening, very slim, that there are zero issues in Democrat areas and tons of issues in the Republican areas. You go, that's a strange coincidence, because the odds would be very long. After 2020, after that Nintendo game gone awry, when we see something like this, Democrat polling stations in Arizona, just fine. Republican areas, plagued with problems to play Nintendo. It is no coincidence at all. Not in my book. Anyways, Darcy, thank you again for your great support for this channel. Without you, Darcy, without you, the rest of you, you know who you are, right? Members of the R Syndicate, members of the Prepared Mind Network, members of the general audience. Without your support here, couldn't pay for all this. We just couldn't do it. So I want to thank you for what you have been doing. Now, Fuzzy checked in with me today. That would be Fuzzy Fork. And he said, hey, what the media is not telling you about the FTX scandal. Do you know anything about the FTX scandal, folks? Well, it's starting to look very, very, well, very fishy. It looks like they had $10 billion, about $10 billion of investment money, you Americans, investing your money in this FTX group. And the guy running FTX is the one who was in the thumbnail, the young guy with a big old set of fuzzy head, right? Another one of these young brainiac types that we're just supposed to think is so smart, kind of like Zark Zuckerberg was, or Bill Gates was a super nerd when he was young. Well, they take in $10 billion and they hold about $1 billion. Well, where did the other $9 billion go? They're facing a lot of questions, folks. A lot of questions. Now, there's a criminal probe by the Bahamas authorities. Yep, a lot of questions. People like the Clintons. It's starting to look like the money was moved from FTX's account and is being laundered through Ukraine. Right? This little geeky nerd that runs FTX gets billions of dollars, and he's good buddies with Clinton, Bill Clinton, and others. Is it any wonder that the Clintons, the Pelosi's, right, Mittens Romney, Light and the Loafers, Lindsey Graham, and others are so enamored with, well, going to war and sending a lot of money over into Ukraine? Sounds to me more and more like that corruption over there is being used in a lot of different ways. Right, to launder money, to send money. How much taxpayer money has been sent over there and put through this laundering mechanism and then redistributed? Anyways, yeah, criminal probes, and it's breaking loose, folks. That's a lot of money. Who are the players? Now, I don't really expect these people to be held accountable. Certainly not the Clintons or the Romneys or the Pelosi's or the Obamas or the Bushes. I don't expect any of these people to be investigated and found guilty. But I'm sure, folks, that they're not going to be able to get all of the shit back into the horse, and more Americans like you are going to wake up and see what's going on. Right? Now, Elon Musk says this about the FTX probe, the investigation by authorities. He said there'll be no investigation, quote, no investigation of, quote, major Democrat donor, SBF. Folks, this is why we should be in contact. Prep to action. Not only get food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and your personal means of self-defense, you need to take action. Call your representative, email, write, and say, what are you doing? Right? We've got January 6th protesters locked up in jail for walking on Congress, on the steps of Congress. Public ground, hallowed public ground, our Congress. People are in jail still, almost 2 years, for trespassing on public property, yet these people are stealing billions and billions and billions of dollars, and you won't do a fucking thing about it. Unfreaking believable. That's why we say get after your Republicans and tell them to do something. Do something and keep doing it. Unbelievable. It truly is, folks. It is stunning to me. Stunning. Absolutely stunning what is going on. Well, we passed the 30-minute mark, folks, and we're going to go for 2 hours. We passed the 30-minute mark, and we're heading into the bottom half of the hour. And guess what? I want to give you some more stunning information. Unbelievable. And we're just a few live people away from 500 people live. 500 right now. Now, you want a stunner? You want something stunning? Well, we had a Nintendo miracle happen. Or is this a coincidence? You decide when I tell you. Now, in the state of Nevada, Adam Laxalt announced that his Democrat opponent would have to get an impossibly high, folks, 63% of the remaining Nintendo points to win. To win the game of Nintendo in his district, the Democrat would have to get 63% of what was left. An impossibility, a statistical impossibility. Yet, the next day, the Democrats got 63% of the Nintendo points. Imagine that. Do you believe in miracles? Do you believe in Nintendo cheats? Or is this just a strange coincidence? Once again, folks, just enough Nintendo points to make the Democrat win the game. Hit that super chat button, folks. Get your questions in. I know you've got a lot on your minds. All last week, Monday through Friday, at the club and at Subscribestar, we had a lot of questions, more than normal. So I know we've got questions out there right now, and this is your chance. I'll make you famous. And remember this, folks. Got some other information here. Remember this. These people on the left are a bunch of stormtroopers. They love the destruction of America. They love it when you fail, or they defeat us, or they lie, cheat, and steal their way to victory. That's them, folks. Goose-stepping liberals. They're enjoying all of this. And we're just going to sit back and take it, right? Can't do anything about it, right? Unbelievable. Yeah, that's right. Republican leadership, McConnell, starved, pro-Make America Great Again candidates, folks. That's what they're all about. Now, the number of House seats that the GOP has is dwindling. It's shrinking. Their lead in controlling the House of Representatives is shrinking. And guess what? The leadership, where is Mitch McConnell? Where is Kevin McCarthy? Why are they silent? Why are they ignoring reality? Why are they accepting all these coincidences? Right? Why aren't they out there saying something? Well, because you're not allowed to question the results of the Nintendo game. If you were to do that, then you're probably a Nintendo denier. Just like back in 2020, you're a denier, right? Kind of like a climate crisis denier. Oh, you're a denier, huh? Yeah, I deny all of this, folks. I deny that the Jim Jones juice is necessary. I deny that the cerveza bug was real, as in a huge, deadly, global, worldwide, galactic pandemic. I deny, folks, that the people in Washington are good. They're not. Washington, D.C. is full of scum. I deny that communists, folks, are worth saving and allowing to be in America. I don't. Look at what they're doing to our country. And they're happily doing it. They will use the Constitution to protect them, their free speech, their authority, their rights, while they shit all over ours. But ultimately, they would kill the whole Constitution if they had their chance. And where are the Republicans? Where is the leadership on, folks, national politics, freedom and liberty? Where is the Republican Party when it comes to the cerveza bug and the reality of it? Where are they on the Jim Jones juice and the reality of it? Where are these people? Where are these people on the Nintendo game from last Tuesday? The results for that? The results that happened down in Brazil the week before? The results that happened in 2020? Oh, they don't want to be called a denier. They don't want to step up and represent either their constituents or the truth. Unfreaking believable, as far as I'm concerned. Unbelievable. Now, you want some more? You want to be stunned? Well, here. Let me give it to you. Eric Swallowswell, Democrat representative out of the state of California, said, quote, please tell me what I'm missing here. He's trying to be a smart ass, right? Remember, this is the same guy who had a relationship of some sort with Fang Fang Bang Bang, love you long time Chinese spy. But he's still allowed as a Democrat to sit on the Intelligence Committee, even though he's been completely and totally compromised by a Chinese spy. Well, Swallowswell got on Twitter and he attacked, badgered, lashed out at parents, American parents who dare, folks, who dare to question the education of their children coming out of public schools. Right now, dipshit Swallowswell was responding to South Carolina's Republican Senator Tim Scott, saying that Republicans intend to put parents back in charge of their kids' education. So dumbass Swallowswell, folks, basically said, that's ridiculous. Here's his quote, folks. This is the people, the attitude of these internationalist, communist, socialist supporting, globalist Democrats and rhinos. This is their attitude. And why I am so cynical. He says, quote, please tell me what I'm missing here. What are we doing next? Putting patients in charge of their own surgeries? When did we stop trusting experts? This is so stupid. Let's see. Mr. Swallowswell, patients are in charge of their own surgeries. The doctor advises us what we should do, and we choose to accept or reject the doctor. The doctor doesn't get to tell us exactly what's happening. Now, most people, of course, choose to accept their doctor's recommendation as the medical expert, but claiming that their expert status allows them to supersede and negate any of our thoughts or input. No, that's not right. We have rights. Right? Unbelievable, folks. We stopped trusting experts, Mr. Swallowswell, when our rights were violated and we were lied to by experts like Fauci and every other TV expert that wants kids masked, kids segregated for not falling for the leftist crap, for kids that were treated to harsh punishments for daring to question experts and forced to get injections of the Jim Jones juice. Same with people, not just children, folks, when the experts lied to us. The medical experts, the legal experts, right? The government employees who violated our rights, experts who talked about everything from transmissibility. Unbelievable. Now, when it comes to parenting, all of a sudden we're stupid. Our parents were stupid. Our grandparents were stupid. The last 250 years, the last 2,000 years of parents being in charge of their kids. Now we're just supposed to give all that up because government says so. Well, that's what people like Swallowswell thinks, folks. So I say to him, fuck your experts. We will listen to our own minds and disregard experts who have violated our rights and continue to do so. The government turns on you, right? Merrick Garland, Garlic, Merrind, whatever the hell his name is, Attorney General for the United States government in D.C., right? Dumbass Joe Biden calling parents domestic terrorists because they show up. They show up at a public meeting, a school board meeting where they are in charge of what's happening. Well, yes, there are, folks, school board members who have been elected to sit in those positions and represent those people. It's a form of representative government who have been disregarding what is best for kids and doing what they want, right? Genderless bathrooms, allowing girls and boys into each other's locker rooms, pretending that gender doesn't matter. Meanwhile, what happens? Assaults, rapes, injuries in sporting events, and that fight is on. Getting kids to hate themselves, hate their friends, hate their parents, hate their country with critical race theory. When did we stop trusting experts? I'll tell you what, swallows well, when we learned what they were doing in the schools and that it wasn't just an isolated incident and it wasn't just some ridiculous claim that someone made on the internet. No, it's real. It's not misinformation, George W. Bush. It's not misinformation, Obama. The kids were being told in school that if you're white, you're a white supremacist, right? That you're a slave holder, a slave owner related to slave owners, that America was started on slavery, that slavery is what made America great, and that, European culture, law, rule, everything that we have about our country is wrong, bad, evil. It's all bullshit. What do you think? How are you living your life? Are you going to allow these people to continue to push you around? Just a question. Just a simple question. At what point do we say enough is enough? And how do we say enough is enough? Well, this election was supposed to be about that. Telling them, the government, enough is enough. That's really how it should be. We tell them enough is enough. Unbelievable, incredible stuff is going on right now. And we're just supposed to let it go. Don't worry about it. They've got our best interest in heart, don't they? Right? Now, before we get to a super chat donation, I want to give you, as Darcy T put it, another coincidence. Coincidence? Oh, by the way, we're right at 500 people live right now. 500 people. Get this internet address out there to more. I want to hit 600 now. I want people live. I want people subscribing. I want people going to the preparedmind.club and signing up, because this is where it's at, where we talk about everything we can. We use special code words, sure, but we talk about it. We talk about it. Oh, well, let me talk about this. FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, that's the guy on the the thumbnail for this video. He admits, folks, he's admitted that FTX was a crypto laundromat for the Ukrainian government. What? Why would he say such a thing? Why would he hint at that? Why would he let the cat out of the bag? Or does he know his time is short, that he's going to probably fall on a knife 27 times, or maybe get shot in the back of the head by himself twice? When you commit suicide, you always shoot yourself in the back of the head with a double tap, right? And a 25 ACP. Oh, yeah, folks. He might be afraid, so he's letting the cat out of the bags. Can this be true, what he's saying? That they're laundering money, right? How high up does this go? How much did Sam Bankman-Fried know? Did he know all along that his little FTX fund was going to be used as a piggy bank for the corrupt? Yeah, pretty interesting, isn't it? Okay, let's do this. Let's do one of your super chats and see what the heck is going on out there. We got Johnny Coathanger is now a YouTube member. That's right. You can do a YouTube membership as well, folks. Everything you do supports this network. Helps pay to keep the lights on. Helps pay to keep the servers running. Helps pay to keep, well, spam and tuna fish in the pantry. Thank you, Johnny Coathanger. And then we got Schlitz Malt Liquor with a $5 super chat donation. And I remember as a kid, Schlitz Malt Liquor had commercials on TV that were some of the most entertaining commercials, period. Right? And they had the mascot for Schlitz Malt Liquor was a bull, a big giant black bull. And this bull would crash through the walls, kind of like the Kool-Aid man would crash through walls, and kids would go, "Hey, Kool-Aid!" and break through the walls, right? Well, they would probably say that they were racially insensitive commercials, right? Because usually it was a black gathering or a bar with black Americans, and they were the ones who loved Schlitz Malt Liquor, supposedly, and at least that's who the company marketed to. And then this fucking bull would crash through the wall and people would be running for their fucking lives. And that was the 70s and 80s, folks. I really love those commercials. As a kid, I thought it was crazy that a bull could break through a wall and start chasing people. I never thought, right, that the bull was chasing them because they were black. And I don't think that the company that was making the beer thought that either. For some reason, they just thought it was a great way to market beer. Kind of like Hams used a cartoon bear who was very reminiscent of Yogi Bear, the Hams Bear Refreshing, right? Hams Bear beer. They used cartoons. This is well before Spuds McKenzie was selling Bud Light, and Joe Camel was selling cigarettes. Crazy stuff, folks. But it is that kind of a world. We went from, when things were fun and crazy and loose, and now everyone is, they got their assholes tight as a snare drum because they don't want to make a mistake and offend anyone. Right? No. What was it? Do we say black? Do we say black American? Right? How do we say it? How do we say words now? Is it Latin or Latinos, or is it Latinx, or is it Hispanics? And if you're south of the border, are they Mexicans? And the answer is yeah. I had someone go, you can't say Mexican, that's racist. I go, but they're from Mexico. The same way in Canada, they're Canadians. In Mexico, they're Mexicans. In Spain, they're the Spanish, right? But to say Mexicans, well, that's racist. What, because they're from that country? Isn't being American racist or being English racist, right? Race is something completely different. But, like I said, everyone is so ready, so incredibly ready to be offended that they won't talk about things that are difficult or uncomfortable. And I think, and folks, I would talk, let's see, elections. Well, that's an uncomfortable discussion that we're not allowed to have. Medicine is an uncomfortable discussion that we're supposed to not have. Right? All these discussion points we're not supposed to have. I'm not supposed to discuss transsexuals because, well, if I don't agree with their agenda, then I'm negative, and therefore I'm attacking supposedly a protected class. I'm doing no such thing. I'm discussing things, right? Just like if you bring up the things that they say, these protected groups, they say, if you bring it up and repeat their words, you can get kicked off of social media. It's like, what? I didn't fucking say it. Kind of like that, the libs of TikTok, which I think is fucking hilarious. They got censored. They got silenced. They got strikes. They got put in a timeout. They got put in the corner with a dunce hat for showing and linking to the videos of left-wing lunatics and the ridiculous crap they say. Unfreaking believable, folks. Oh, and speaking of social media, which way does it? Is this an indictment of the economy, or is this an indictment of the left-wing lunatics? It's like a big well. Recession, anybody? Has Twitter been blowing massive profits to their buddies? Has Twitter been giving away profits that should have gone to, I don't know, stockholders? Twitter eliminated, folks, 4,400 contractors with no notice. 4,400 different companies doing work for Twitter fired. No notice. Folks, they only had 5,500. That means 4 out of 5 they got rid of. Why? Well, insiders are stunned because Elon Musk, Twitter, has cut all of these people. Now, once again, did they cut them because there's a recession? I mean, what were these thousands of people, right? How many people did Elon Musk lay off? 3,000, 4,000, 5,000? They laid off as many contractors. Now, a contractor, folks, can be a single person or a team of people operating through contracts, or an entire corporation. 10, 20, 100 different people, right? Working for a company as a contractor. In other words, how many people were getting money from Twitter? What the fuck are the people at Twitter's doing? And what are these contractors doing that they had 5,500 contractors as well as 7,000 damn Twitter employees. Well, good for Elon Musk, good for Twitter to be firing all these people. What the hell are they doing? All Twitter is a little bluebird where if you write something that's critical of fruitcakes or leftists, you get fired from, you get kicked off of. These people are complete brain dead morons. Well, I've got some Captain Morgan here. And I also got this bottle of 18-year-old Glenlivet. Later this month, my youngest son turns 21. Sure would be nice to just sit down and have a nice scotch with him now that he's going to be old enough. Unbelievable, folks. Where in the world, what in the world is going on? That's right, folks. Laying off. I don't know if this is because, well, Twitter was screwed up. And by the way, we're well over 500 live viewers at the moment and climbing. Thank you for doing your job, for doing what's asked of you, for stepping up and for the fucking sake of freedom, liberty, and our very lives, standing up for ourselves and our children and their rights as well as for our own, and spreading the word about freedom and liberty and just protecting yourself, getting prepared. Things to get a whole lot worse. Anyways, yeah, we've got well over 500 people. Thank you. And this channel has just benefited greatly from everything you guys do. And is the economy that bad? Is that why Twitter is just canning everybody and canning their contractors? How much work is there really to do at a company that is essentially just an instant messenger service? I mean, I use Signal, Signal, Signal. They don't pay me to say that. They don't pay me to use it. They don't charge me to use their app. But it's an instant messenger app. That's really all Twitter is, folks, is an instant messenger app that you can subscribe to. So you can listen to certain people that you want to hear from. And if you don't want to hear from them, then you don't have to hear from them. But Signal doesn't charge me anything or charge anyone anything. And they run an instant messenger service through the internet. Why does Twitter need 7,000 employees or 10,000 employees or 20,000 employees? Why does Facebook need hundreds of thousands of employees worldwide? What the fuck is it that they really do? All Facebook is an instant messenger service that allows groups to connect. Like I said, Signal doesn't charge anything. Any topic that I discuss on Signal, I don't start getting ads for. If I discuss lumber, I don't start getting lumber ads. If I discuss headaches, I don't start getting ads for Excedrin or Midol or Pamprin. No, I don't. I don't get ads, right? Signal is completely private. Right? It's great, but they don't charge anything. Why is it that Facebook and Twitter need thousands and thousands of employees, thousands and thousands of contractors? Just asking questions like this question. This is another miracle. Another miracle is another coincidence. Maggie Hassan, a Democrat, won with 1,100 points playing Nintendo. And she was in a town that only had a population, well, actually it was less than 700, but somehow she got 1,100 votes in a town with under 700 people. How do you explain that? I mean, literally, how do you explain that? It's a miracle. No, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy that this is continuing to do it. I mean, the dead, they vote and they keep voting. And how is it? Oh, well, I guess it's because they're dead. They're not going to be prosecuted. Is that it? What a great scam. When you're dead and you play Nintendo and you keep playing and you play again and again, what are they going to do? Go dig you up, drag you to court, and prosecute you? Unbelievable. Yeah, Maggie Hassan is a Democrat senator. Unbelievable. In New Hampshire. Unfreaking believable. Do people trust the system that's in place? The Nintendo voting system? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Right. In Maricopa County, folks, on Saturday, well, there was a ballot dump. It actually favored Kerry Lake, the Republican. Unbelievable. Folks, that race is so close that I think that a recount, it would be valid to demand a recount. I think a recount needs to happen. And while we're at it, each and every person who put in their points, right, put their points in, they need to look at them. They need to look at them and make sure they're legitimate. Make sure each Nintendo player is legitimate so that their points only get counted if they are legitimate. Because we're getting way too many shenanigans. Way too many shenanigans. All right, folks, it is Sunday Night Live. This is your show. We're now at the 1 hour mark. 1 hour mark. What is it that you want to talk about? What is on your mind? What are your thoughts? What is happening? What do you think happened last week? And what do you think is happening in the week ahead? We got some crazy stuff coming, folks. Get this. Not only is George W. Bush going to do a back-to-back with Obama header, double header on misinformation, right? Oh, the dangers of misinformation and democracy. Oh, why we need to preserve democracy. Bush is also going to, folks, give a pro-war presentation with Zelensky. This is absolutely beyond comprehension that a former president is going to do a joint pro-war presentation with the leader of Ukraine. This leader who is installed by a CIA coup d'etat. That is, a legitimate government was displaced back in 2014 in Ukraine. And ever since then, they've been doing some incredibly corrupt and dangerous things in Ukraine, folks. So what is Bush up to with his little back-to-back fun with Obama? And boy, has he been close to Obama ever since the end of his administration and the beginning of Obama's. But Bush is not only going to do this Obama thing, but he's going to jump right up and say, hey, yeah, welcome Zelensky. You know, Zelensky, who is skinny jeans wearing, special kind of guy who loves to go to rainbow parades and perform and good God, who knows what else. So is Bush, what is he up to? I think this is an effort to fool Americans and to trick Republicans into supporting corruption and death. Why are they dragging Bush up now? Right? Where was Bush during the 8 years of Obama? Where was Bush during the 4 years of Trump presidency? And why now, after 2 years of Biden, are they going to bring up George W. Bush? Drag him out from wherever the hell he's been hiding, dust him off, give him a few talking points, and then exalt him. Right now that he's not president, right? The mainstream media is going to love George W. Bush. Oh, they hated him, folks. They really hated Bush. They called him a warmonger. The mainstream media did. Yep. They called him a liar. They called him an idiot. Now the mainstream media will hold him up and say, oh, what a great, magnanimous, wonderful guy he was, President George W. Bush. We're going to let him go back to back with Obama and see how progressive he is, see how smart he is now. Boy, he must have really grew up. Yeah, that's how this all works, folks. This is unbelievable where they're taking this country and the world. There is no trick. There is no lie that these people won't use and won't tell. They want corruption to exist and proliferate, and they want death, folks. They're very happy about death. In fact, speaking of that, 25 years into the future, about the year 2050, guess what the population statistics are? Guess what the people, the planners, those who are planning, making plans for the future, for us, me, you, they say that the population in 25 years is going to be the same as it is today. That we've hit peak population, we've hit peak oil, peak energy, peak food production. Why is it, do you think, that there is so much sterilization going on? That they're telling kids, tricking kids into cutting their genitals off, sterilizing themselves, taking hormone control drugs, claiming to be a gender that they really aren't. Why do you think they're promoting that, folks? If not to bring the population down. And certainly, folks, they're bringing other non-native populations into Europe, into Canada, into America, into Australia. To do what to our population? Well, to phase it out. They do not want white, intelligent, or black, intelligent, or brown, intelligent people. They don't want us anymore. They don't want intelligent thinking people. They want people playing these social games where you try to impress everybody by being the most self-destructive. They don't want to educate people anymore, whether it's in an inner city school or a suburban school or a rural school. That's why up in extreme Northern California, I was completely shocked. I'm thinking, why does the school board, why are they putting all of this ridiculous, stupid Democrat shit in our school up in a conservative area? Because they pushed it. They got their people elected and they pushed that left-wing stupid crap. Kids showing up wearing animal tails, barking in a rural conservative school because they promoted it and they allowed it. They don't want intelligence, folks, whether it's rural or urban, whether you're black, white, or somewhere in between, or a combination thereof. They don't want smart. They don't want intelligent, and they don't want our culture. That is our Constitution, our rules, our laws, our history. They don't want any of that. What do you think? What's on your mind? Are these people trying to trick us into supporting corruption and death? My answer is hell yeah, they are. Just look at what they've been doing. Look at what they're promoting. You have to pass the legislation. You have to vote for it and pass it before we'll let you see what's in it. Right? He's the most loved and beloved and popular president ever to be elected. Millions, folks, millions and millions and millions of fraudulent Nintendo cards accepted. What do you believe to be true? Right? What do you believe to be true? Folks, tens of billions of US dollars were transferred to Ukraine, and then using the FTX cryptocurrency, right? The funds were laundered back to anti-American political operatives in the United States. That's what's going on. How many US government dollars have gone the same path over to Ukraine, laundered through crypto systems, and then come back to people in the United States who are corrupt in politics? How many US government dollars, not just your investment dollars that were sent over there unlawfully, How many U.S. government dollars? How many billions were sent over? Yeah, we sent a lot of bombs and rockets and missiles and guns and bullets. We sent a lot of, tanks and equipment over there to Ukraine. How many just dollars got sent? All right, let's do this. Let's do a super chat donation. We're in our second hour now, and we've got Chin Music with a $9.99 super chat donation. He says, John, when batteries bin the Nintendo box finally die, how many seats will the comeback kids win by? And most is American suckers are more concerned with the Cowboys game. We are in bad shape. Okay. The comeback kids are the Democrat Party. Well, we've had in the interim since last Tuesday during the Nintendo game, we've had several Republicans win as well. Thank you, Jolene. We've had several Republicans win as well. They're going to hang on to their lead, I think. I think ultimately it's going to be a very narrow win for the Republicans. So when Joe Biden said the other day, he said, hey, the American people have made it loud and clear. They want you, Republicans, to work with me. Right. I don't think the Americans said anything of the sort loud and clear. I think if they said anything of that sort, it would have meant a few very idiotic dunderheads. Now, I think that the Republican rhino leadership, Mitch McConnell and McCarthy, they're going to pretend like this was the narrowest of victories, the slimmest of margins, that the Republicans took control, and that there's no evidence that they, as the Republican leadership, should change their program. In fact, they're going to claim that all this Make America Great Again was bad for the Republican Party. They're already claiming that. They're going to claim that Trump blew it, that Trump and the America First programs that were out there are the reason that all those Republican leads were squandered because the American people rejected it. It's funny how days, weeks, and months before the election, Americans were strongly for Republican leadership, a change in Congress, both in the House and in the Senate. The American people were pushing that. People are leaving the Democrat Party left and right, re-registering as Republicans because they want to vote, they want to be Republican. They're tired of seeing their country destroyed, pissed on, talked down, talked shit about. They've had it. And then somehow, miraculously, last Tuesday, as people started to play Nintendo, they changed their minds again, based on absolutely no evidence and for no apparent reason. All of a sudden, the country decided it wanted to be Democrat again. I'm not buying it. It's not a fucking coincidence. It's not an accident. It was all intentional. And these rhino Republican leaders like McCarthy are going to claim, oh, we can't do any of that stuff. No, we need to go down the proven path of being a bunch of suck-up rhino Republicans and do our very best to hold on to our power, but always be willing to concede to Democrats. Why? Well, because they're controlled, folks. They're owned. Yes, indeed they are. Now, Chin Music, thank you for the great donation. Most American suckers are concerned with the Cowboys game. You bet they are. Right? It's a sad state of affairs. Most people, folks, don't want to face reality. Right? The ostrich, the largest bird on the planet, the ostrich, right? Basically, it's a giant turkey with long legs, sticks its head in the ground to hide, not realizing that bent over with their head in the ground, their ass is in the air, and they're exposed. They can be nailed, shot, bit, whatever, right? They're stupid. But they would rather do that than turn and, folks, again, the largest bird on the planet, the ostrich. The ostrich is so big and strong, folks, that a human being can sit on its back and they can run with a human being on their back. I cannot. I can carry a person, but I can't run with a person on my back, right? An ostrich can, folks. That's how strong and powerful they are. We as people are much stronger than we know. Yet because of the small brain of the ostrich, it sticks its head in the sand and says, this is a better way to deal with reality. Rather than face it and use my strength, I'm going to hide from it. Well, most people, Americans included, most of them, well, they stick their head up their ass where their television set is at, and they watch that. They would rather not deal with reality and pretend there's no problem out there than to have to face it, right? They don't realize how strong they are, how powerful we are. I do. I know exactly how powerful you are. That is why, folks, the United States government and many state governments and the bureaucracies think of you and I as domestic terrorists. They have to malign us and lie about us and pretend that we're a domestic threat. Well, because they're afraid of us. That's how powerful and strong we are. Our Second Amendment scares the ever-loving shit out of state governments and the federal government because they're all prohibited from taking our guns away. And then those guns are there for real to get rid of a government that has become so tyrannical that there is no other alternative but to use force to remove the leadership and to put in place a government to protect the rights and interests of the people whom they have been put in charge to help govern, to administrate. They're afraid of us, folks. That's how powerful we truly are. And yeah, most people, they want to watch basketball or hockey or football or baseball and make that their life. We are in bad shape. But the government, folks, it can't do what it wants, even though there is a very small percentage of us that are prepared. A small percentage of us that are prepped and patriotic. That number grows and grows, though, folks. It's not just 3 to 5%. Now the number of patriotic Americans who are well aware that the government is lying and full of shit, it is much higher. And that's why they're trying to silence you. They're trying to silence me. And it's not about silencing me. It's about making sure all of you can't hear. Right? They want to deafen us. So I can't hear from or listen to Alex Jones or Steven Crowder. They don't want me to hear Dan Bongino. They don't want me to hear anyone that they don't approve of, whether they're mainstream like Dan or sarcastic smartasses like Stephen Chowder, Chowderhead, Louder with Crowder. His name's Crowder. Right? They don't want us to hear a wild lunatic, right, who is right far more often than not. And I'm talking about Alex Jones. Right? They don't want us to talk. They don't want us to listen. They want to control everything. That's how afraid they are of us. That's how powerful we are. And yeah, people want to be ostriches. They want to ignore reality. They're more concerned with distractions. That's big deal to them. But folks, don't worry. The government is afraid and people are waking up. And you've done a great job in continuing that fine American tradition of telling people in charge to go fuck themselves when they try silencing us, controlling us, punishing us, and stealing from us. But we're going into a massive economic recession, depression. We have a group of people who are elitists saying you'll own nothing and you'll like it. This is where we're at. All right, Jolene, I think I saw something from Uman that popped up on the board real quick. What do we got going there? Well, we got Red Scar with a $1.99 super chat donation. He says, how high will inflation go, John? Well, number one, I caught a news blip early in the weekend that inflation has topped out, that we're going to start seeing deflation now. Number one, I don't buy that. Number two, I think that's bullshit. And number three, I don't buy that. But how high will inflation go? Will it go above 10%? Will it go to 15%, 20%? Well, I love how they just, words are a game to these people. How high will inflation go? Well, it's 10%. And we stopped it at 10%. Well, 10% is still 10%. 10% this year and 10% next year? That's not good. I don't like that at all, right? Every percent of inflation means my currency, my dollars, have less buying power. How high will inflation go? My best guesstimate is it is going to stall somewhere between 10 and 15%. Right? They will control and manipulate the system to stop it there. They can't have it get out of hand. There's discussion again that the Federal Reserve is going to pivot. Right? In other words, they're going to stop raising interest rates and, well, I don't think they're just going to instantly lower them. Right? Now, I heard that this fall, where we're at right now, we're not even to winter yet, but fall, third, fourth quarter, we would see the Federal Reserve pivot and start lowering interest rates in order to spur the economy on, right? And just this weekend, again, I heard, no, it's not now. It's going to be next spring, summer. And they've done a fantastic job of fucking us over for the last, decade, folks. Right? They've stalled the recession and stalled the recession and stalled the recession by lying, making up, bullshitting us for the last 10 years, lying about inflation, lying about quantitative easing, lying about the Federal Reserve buying U.S. government debt. They're incredible, folks. Right? I heard that in 2019 we would have huge economic trouble. That was from a very notable expert. Well, we did have huge economic trouble in September of 2019, but it was hidden over. It was hidden. It was covered over. It was covered up. And so they're going to continue to play these games, lie to us about the numbers, and screw us over. And wouldn't you be happy getting 10% of the wealth of every American per year? 10% of $100 billion? Well, it's $10 billion. What's our economy? What's our gross domestic product in America? Is it $50 trillion? Well, let's just say it's $20 trillion. Well, 10% of that is $2 trillion. How would you like to increase the value of your holdings by $2 trillion a year? Well, those who control the money are doing just that. They're taking $2 trillion of ours. $2 trillion every year. I guess they could be satisfied with that, don't you think? Unbelievable how they screw us over. They piss down our backs and then go, hey, it's raining outside. Look at that. I tell you, folks, we're being fucked with and screwed over. Are you prepared? The Biden administration, Joe Biden, let's go Brandon. Fuck Joe Biden. Guess what? They're going to extend the COVID-19 national public health emergency again. That's what the plan is, folks. Through to the spring of 2023. Well, spring is March 21st of 2023. That's over 4 months away. They're going to extend it again. Folks, we're in a permanent state of emergency. A permanent state of medical emergency. The lawless federal government, when it declares a state of emergency, suspends to greater or lesser degrees constitutional restrictions and limitations. See, they love to say, well, it's an emergency, so we need to take extra constitutional steps to run the country. That's what they do, folks. That's what they say. That's what they think. If you think that everything's just going to go back to normal, then, well, you're not. You haven't been paying attention. I know you guys know that we're not going to go back to the way things once were in America. They even told us after the medical emergency, right, the pandemic, that there's now a new normal. Do you remember when you were told you're not going to shake hands anymore? You're not going to hug people. You're not even going to kiss your spouse and your children, right? People are going to have to stay in their homes and look through the glass. Hi, Grandma. Hi. Hi, we're inside the room here. You can't come see us. So dangerous. And I thought it was great when they started showing pictures of old people going, you know what? Fuck it. We're hugging our friends. Thought that was great. In rest homes, people are like, you know, too bad. But this is it, folks. They want a permanent state of emergency. They want to be able to tell us, well, because things are so bad and dangerous, that we're just going to continue to push this. See, if they take back this state of emergency, folks, then guess what? Right? They lose a little bit of their power. They lose a little bit of their control. We were supposed to be told what happened. We were supposed to be told what happened in the JFK assassination. Right? We've been told a lot of things. We're supposed to know what happened. Right? The Seth Rich thing, oh, they want to hide that. They want to hide what's in the Jim Jones juice. They want to hide that for 70 years. All of these, well, special medical emergencies and special rules and government secrecy. Why? If they're not lying, why would they need any of that? I trust these people, folks, about as far as I can kick the motherfuckers. Period. Right? I mean, here we are in 2022. 2022. We're supposed to be well into the computer age, folks. And I did mention that Republicans are winning House seats. In fact, in Idaho, the Republican was, well, told, hey, you won. Because a computer glitch was corrected. How fucking hard is it, folks, in the year 2022 to program a computer to count either Republican or Democrat? And then on both those columns, tally them up, right? You can do this with an Excel spreadsheet, or if you don't want to use Excel, right, any tabulating spreadsheet. Democrat votes, Republican votes. Add them all up, you get a total. Whichever total is bigger is the winner. How do you have a computer glitch that fucks that up? How hard is it in 2022 to program a computer to count? Yet we're supposed to believe that they can't do that, folks. That it takes days and weeks, and that we have glitches. Well, down in Brazil, they're not buying that shit either. There are continuing to be massive social gatherings, people protesting en masse because the socialists down in Brazil have taken their Nintendo game, right, to new limits, right? They've stolen Nintendo games, livelihoods, freedom, and their country in Brazil. And the Brazilian people and the military are not happy with it. I'm waiting, folks, to see what happens in Brazil. I'm waiting to see if violence breaks out. If the people of Brazil say, you know, we've had enough of this bullshit and lies. Is that going to happen in America, folks? Well, not in 2022, but what about 2024? How much more of this bullshit do we have to stomach before the American people say, no, that's bullshit, right? No one is happy. Remember, folks, 73%, 3 out of 4 Americans say, you know, we've had it with this bullshit, this economy, this government, their policies, the lawlessness. We've had it with it. And then they turn around and vote for more of it. The Republicans look like they will barely hold on with who knows what, 6, 10 seats in the House. They'll barely hold on, but we're supposed to believe it was that close. There's that many Americans that love what's going on. Well, Brazil, folks, like I said, they're in the streets by the tens and hundreds of thousands saying they've had it. And their Nintendo game started a week before ours. Right? How long will you be run over and lied to and cheated before you say, you know what, no more? Remember what happened up in Canada? People said we've had it with Justin Trudeau and his bullshit. And people drove truckers, farmers from all over the country to go protest. And what happened? The government punished them. They used mounted police to stampede and trample old women. They stole firewood, fuel. They sabotaged people's fuel by putting water in it. They arrested people. They stole their money, their bank accounts. They fired them. They screwed them over. For what? Cerveza bug. Cerveza bug. Demonstrably proven to not be any more deadly than any other flu. It's all bullshit, folks. And we've been lied to. Lied to since the spring of 2020. Sorry about that. Something got in my eye. Something got down here in the in the bunker. Anyways, yeah, we're now at 2.5 years, folks, since shit hit the fan. 2.5 years of this crap. Unfreaking believable. How much more will you tolerate before you stand up? My recommendation, though, is before you stand up, you better be damn well prepared. Not only with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, but you better have a well-placed plan and be prepared for negative consequences. Serious negative consequences. Right? And people have had a lot and put up with this shit. Right? Biden, folks, he was over in Egypt at a climate change conference. People of Egypt, right, attendees in the audience even at this place, were howling, literally mocking Joe Biden. He is a global laughingstock of a puppet. Zero respect, right? Oh yeah, Biden Fetterman 2024. It's a no-brainer. You bet, folks. Right? These people are a laughingstock, but they're also incredibly powerful. Meaning they control everything. They truly do. They control everything. Unbelievable. All right, let's do this. Jolene says we've got a super chat donation we need to take a look at. And we're well over 500 people live right now. And we're at the 90-minute mark. We've got a half hour to go. Jolene, who wants to step up? It is Fishman with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, well, we all see why Biden said don't question the results. That's right. We are not to question results. We're to accept what we're told and like it. The same way we were told that we will own nothing and we will like it as they tear down our institutions of freedom. And we're told we'll like it. Well, they ignore our rules in the republic and they tell us, well, democracy is what matters. In Washoe County, Nevada, the video cameras, they went dark. Right? Cameras went off, and 9 minutes after that, huge ballot drop. Nothing to question here, folks. Don't you dare question. Literally, when everything goes black, right? Everything goes black. Nothing to see at all when everything goes black, right? When it goes out. That's how they like it, folks. That is exactly what they want. Now, I tell you, these people mock your freedoms and liberty. You've heard, remember John Bolton, the guy with the big mustache? John Bolton, right? He had a reporter removed from an event for questioning him on WikiLeaks, Iraq, Afghanistan. This was this Taylor Hansen fella. He was forcefully removed from an event because he dared to ask John Bolton, how are we supposed to trust him when he lied about weapons of mass destruction, war crimes in Afghanistan, and John Bolton, why he celebrated when Julian Assange was arrested, right? Oh, you want to ask questions? You want truth? You want facts? Evict him. Get that guy out of here, says Bolton, right? And then he mocks you and me and our First Amendment. He's like, there's another example of the First Amendment at work. That's what these people think, folks. They do not respect you. They think that they're going to steamroll all of us. Are you prepared to deal with it? Right? Are you prepared to deal with it? Now, I know we're fighting back. I know that we're doing the best that we can. Right? That's what we got to keep doing. They're trying to, how do I put this? They're trying to make you feel bad. They're trying to bring you down. Right? They're trying to discourage us, dissuade us. They're trying to demoralize us by taking the victory out of this victory. You know what I consider a bigger victory than the elections? The fact that so many Americans have woken up and realized that they need to vote to get rid of these scumbags. You and I have been watching this for not just weeks or months, but for years and years. And we understand. We literally understand, right, that it takes more than just voting. Right? We understand what's wrong with the system. We understand what's wrong with the people in leadership. But there are a lot of people who are just now waking up and they think, well, I'm going to go vote and that's going to fix everything. And so they see what happened with this Nintendo game and they're discouraged. Right? We don't want them to go back into hiding and start watching football again and be discouraged and think, well, there's nothing we can do about this. We all need to continue to fight. And to fight and fight and fight and keep fighting. Right? We need to keep fighting. Now, let's use the country of Hungary as an example. Right? Hungary has been fighting the European Union and all their bullshit. Now, here is a quote from their leadership when they explained, right, the total failure of the anti-Russia sanctions. Quote, the sanctions which have been introduced by the European Union against Russia have failed. It's a total failure. Now, the guy's name was Zijarto, and he made these statements to Jordan's Roya News, right, in his television appearance. Right. It is this criticism he made against the EU. He said, it was said by the European Commission that the sanctions will help us to conclude this war as soon as possible, and that it will bring Russia's economies to its knees. What's the outcome? It's totally the opposite. So Hungary and folks, the people of Hungary, they've realized that the sanctions that were put against Russia have actually brought Hungary and Europe to its knees. That's the true outcome of what's going on. The opposite of what they claimed. What are they claiming? All of their rules will fix the climate crisis. And what happened when we actually cleaned up the air? They said, well, cleaning the air caused more climate crisis. In other words, we're in a continual climate crisis. We're in a continual medical crisis and emergency. We're in a continual political crisis around the world. And that's what these people in charge thrive on, is death, destruction, corruption, and misery. And they want to demoralize us and keep us down and believing we can't win and we can't make a difference when in fact we can. We should and we will. And so I want to be encouraging and not discouraging anyone. Right? Yes, we talk about the negativity here, all the negative shit out there, but that's not what the show is about. It's about getting prepared and taking action. Right? Prep to action. Take action. Winning a war, folks, it's not won in a day. Destroying this country has taken the political socialists. It's taken them decades to get this far, folks. They never quit. They never gave up. They weren't disillusioned about how hard it was going to be, and they kept doing it, and they kept at it, and look how badly they've damaged our country. We can't defeat them and win back our freedom in one day. This isn't a movie. You don't sit down and see all of everything in 2 hours and then go home with yeah, we won. It's not a football game, right? This is a long-term, the rest of our lives battle against these scumbags. It would be great to have a shall I say, charismatic leader that everyone could get behind, and that charismatic leader could take real action, right? A real benevolent, cares about the people leader, a George Washington type, who would take extraordinary actions against the evil out there and expose them and prosecute them and have them punished publicly for the whole world to see. I know what we want. We want someone to catch the bad guys, make the news show them, and discuss how bad they are, and then punish them and protect this country and return and restore our republic 100%. I know that's what we want, but that's not how reality is going to work. It's going to be a lot longer, a lot harder, and a lot uglier. Now, what do you guys want to talk about? Who wants to do a super chat donation and get their thoughts put up here? Right? I've done an awful lot of, how do we put it? Picking the topics. Picking the topics. Once again, you and I are incredibly powerful. You and I. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Now, we're incredibly powerful. The government doesn't like us having guns. Right? Why is it, folks, that some areas of the country see guns as a good thing and other areas see guns as a bad thing? Why is it so different? How are states so different? Why is it that a city within a very conservative state can be so liberal, so anti-gun? Right? We need to understand who these people are and where they're at and how they thrive and how they get by and how they control things. The state of California, for example, is an enormous state. It is the third largest state in the American Union. Yet, it's controlled by some very small areas. You can drive from one end of the Bay Area to the other in an hour, 2 hours in bad traffic. Yet, if you want to travel from the top of the state to the bottom through rural highways, it'll take you a day. You see, these population areas are just dense, population dense. And that's how they control large, vast areas. Right? It's incredible. They do want to run people into cities, folks. They want to take people out of the country. We got a mess. We truly have a mess on our hands. We got that one taken care of there. But we can't give up. Now, in Nevada, once again, folks, we won this election. We know that a vast majority of Americans are conservative, and even Democrats do not like what's going on. Now, in Nevada, the Republican won the governor's race. Joe Lombardo, who is also a sheriff, folks, he won Nevada's governor race. And Democrat, scumbag, socialist, piece of shit, Cicero, who I had the privilege of never meeting, thankfully, but Cicero is ousted, done. Interesting that so many Californians have left California and moved into Nevada, one of the most popular areas to relocate. Nevada, Arizona, Idaho, Oregon, probably the states that got the most Californians. I know Texas sure got a whole lot. Anyways, if all these Californians left California and relocated to Nevada, why did Nevada not vote blue? Democrat again. Why is it going red? Well, it sounds to me like a good percentage, a big percentage of Nevada had, how do I put this? I want to make this sound right. Had a properly performing, even though Washoe County and others didn't. But most of Nevada said we're not going to have these shenanigans play out again. We're not going to have lying, cheating scumbags in charge. How many more states are going to do the same thing? How many more counties are going to do the same thing? We are winning, folks. We're winning the information war. We're winning the political war. Now, the game of Nintendo, there are a lot of cheaters out there, but we've won enough to take back some power. And we need to keep fighting these people. Yeah, voting, it sucks waiting for a vote. It sucks watching all the bullshit. But it has to be fought, folks. I just got the best message, man. There's a tranny. Okay, look, I'm not allowed to make fun of trans testicles, trans plants, trans whatever they are, transgenders, transsexuals. I'm not allowed to make fun of them because they're a protected class. But they attack people physically, violently. A transgender Antifa member sentenced to 5 years in prison for attacking Trump supporters in San Diego. I think that's just fabulous. And by the way, right, these same people, unbelievable. They want to normalize women having bulges, right? This picture is of Dylan Mulvaney, Biden's transgender activist. How many more people do we have to see, folks, to note that they're just complete violent lunatics? All right, Jolene, what do we got rolling? We're still well over 500 people live right now. Can you believe it? I do. Don't lose heart. Don't give up. Don't quit. Never, ever quit. Understand we won. We're winning. We're going to continue to win. We have to continue to wake up, fight, get people to realize what's going on, get their heads out of their ass, heads out of the sand, turn off the fucking boob tube, and get active. Prep to action. We got to have all of that. Jolene, who do we have up next on the Prepared Mind? We got Doing Stuff with Nikki, $40 super chat donation. And she said, with this fucked up chat tonight, I'm going to need donations to GMVF, Get More Vodka Fund. I need to throw about 30% of your chat into the dungeon. Love you and have a drink, damn it. All right. Because it's Nikki, Get More Vodka Fund. This is the GTFB and SB. We'll do that right there, Nikki. All right, we got some of the Captain. Ooh, spiced rum. One for the Gipper right there. One for the Nikki. I don't know what's going on in this fucked up chat tonight. I have no idea. I'm on here talking about topics that really matter. And I will not quit. I will not give up. I will not go away. I will not go silently into that good night. And all the evil people out there, they can kiss my ass. Folks, we're fucking winning. Understand me. And man, do I feel good after that shot. Thank you there, Nikki. Disney is going to mass layoff. They're going into a hiring freeze as they lay off people because they have to cut their costs. Why? Well, because they got woke and they're going broke, folks. Now, growing up, I loved Disney movies. I loved it. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. One of my favorite cartoons of all time was Goofy Sports. Just all the Goofy, Goofy the character. Goofy Sports, hockey, baseball, football, everything Goofy was funny as fuck. Now, there's nothing funny about Disney. The giant rat trying to gnaw off children's genitals. They're losing, folks. They're losing. You want to have your trans day? You want to have your gay pride parade bullshit at Disney? That's supposed to be a children's park. Right? Instead, it has been a bunch of sexual deviants, folks, for decades now. And all of a sudden, America's woke up. All of a sudden, America said, we've had enough of this shit. That's right. Fuck you, Disney Corporation. I'm not buying your bullshit anymore. I'm not buying it, folks. We're winning. We're waking up. We have the power. We're the authority, and that's what I'm doing here. But by golly, get prepared because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fast. It's going to be a nasty fight. And they will, folks, go scorched earth. They're already doing it. They're scorching our food. They're scorching our fertilizer. They're scorching our energy system. They're scorching the schools. They're trying to start wars. They're scorching the healthcare system. And they're lying to people and saying, get you Jim Jones juice. And by the way, cut off your nuts and your tits on the way to the doctors. Unbelievable. Okay, Jolene, what do we got next? We have, it's tapped line. Uh-oh, your line is tapped. Or is that a beer tap? Tap line, $10. He says, how's your yurt holding up? I'm thinking about getting one. Well, as you can see, I'm in a corrugated bunker, but the yurt is holding up pretty good. I did put a very nice finish on it. Now, I'm not at the RMZ, folks. I've said I'm not going back. I can't go back. I've got to stay in it. That's what the Get the Fuck Back and Stay Back Fund is about. The yurt, I got treated with water repellent. White duck tents, there it is. White duck tents. It was a bell tent that I raised on a wooden frame and then skirted it with more yurt material. And it was awesome. So awesome. Unbelievable. A way to live, folks, off the grid. The choice between that and coming back and fighting for my country, fighting with my countrymen, fighting for America, fighting for freedom and liberty, fighting to get rid of evil. That's really, really what this is about. I mean, honestly, folks, how much would I love just kicking back, dealing with that stupid rooster? I figured out how to deal with the rooster at night. The thing would start crowing at 1 a.m, midnight. I just had some white noise that I would turn on, and it would drown out the rooster. And then the frogs, I got used to the frogs. I love the frogs and all the other noise. Yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible. What was driving me nuts was the world was being screwed over by shit, it's the fan, cerveza bug nonsense. Screwed over by that. And it pissed me off and upset me so bad that I had to come back. I knew the election was coming. It was going to be a big deal. That was the 2020 election. Here we are 2 years later putting up with the same shit. I've been back 2 fucking years. And we're fighting the fight, but we're waking up Americans, you and I, right now, by telling them, come here, right? Get that internet address, spread it, share it. When you come here to the Prepared Mind channel, hit subscribe so you get links. We talk every day. And if you're a member of the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com, if you're a member there, then you get to be on live every day. Right? We do a monologue and a Q&A every day. And then we do Sunday Night Live, of course, and that is the zoo. This is the zoo. The zoo, it's here right now, folks. We're living in a frickin' zoo. It's just, are you thinking? Are you prepared? Or are you asleep and not realizing what's going on? If you're here right now, you're awake and you're getting real information about what is going on and what you need to do about it. Folks, literally, you need to be prepared with all these items, right? Do you need medication to survive? Get lots of it. Do you need food? Of course, get lots of it. Store it, because they're going to start hammering the food system, the fuel system, the electricity system. They need to bring us down, these World Economic Forum, globalist, Illuminati bastards. They need to bring us down and enslave us while they tell our children, hey, cut off your genitals, sterilize yourself with chemicals, ruin your lives, hate yourselves, your parents, and your country. How does that make a lick of fucking sense? Well, unless you want America destroyed. All right, folks, we're in the 10-minute mark. The 10-minute mark. And Paul, thank you for the jokes, Paul. You just sent me a shit pile of jokes. Oh, good God. Good stuff. Okay. Anyways, we're in the last, here come more. The last 10 minutes of the show, folks. If you've got a question or comment, hit that super chat button. Support the show. Support your fellow man. Get your thoughts out there, folks. I'll make you famous. Unbelievable. Now, Blake Masters, Arizona Republican. Make America Great Again Republican. America First Republican. Defeated, right? Well, Trump is calling for a redo, a do-over, right? Our do-over isn't going to be for 2 years. They're not going to do anything over. I'm not Pollyannish. I'm not naive. I'm not stupid. But we have a job to do between now and the next election, between now and their next major false flag, which I think is going to be a nuclear weapon detonated. I really think that's coming. I think they're pushing that, folks. Now, whether or not it's Russia or Ukraine or some rogue government institution that just happens to have a nuke, I think it's coming. Are you prepared for that, folks? Are you prepared for the massive destruction that these people are willing to do? Now, remember, if you're on the know, if you're one of the people on the high tall towers, if you're one of those families or members of those groups, guess what? You're going to know this shit is happening. And you're going to get in your private jet and you're going to leave a huge carbon footprint as you fly to a place of safety. These people at the very top, folks, the World Economic Forum types, the Davos douches, as I like to call them, they know what's coming. They know what's happening. They know what to expect, and they are prepared. Have no doubts. They're prepared with bunkers. They're prepared with food. They're prepared with water, and they have a security force. They're not going to defend themselves. They're going to hire people to do it for them. They are willing and betting that they can outlast you, free world, you, America. They're betting that they can damage us beyond repair so that they can take control of us. Think about this, folks. eBay and Amazon battling it out. Duke. See who controls the market. Well, eBay is still there, but they don't control the market. Amazon controls the market. Amazon is big retail, right? Well, eBay still exists, but they're inconsequential now. That's how these people at the top are, right? They're duking it out. Their version of socialism or our freedom. And we've been duking it out, arguing for it. They think that they can beat us, that they can play the game longer, that we'll quit and give up, and that their system will win. And yeah, some of us will still live and be alive, but for the most part, we'll be nobodies, right? That's what the whole eBay thing is. It's basically just small time. Whereas the billions and billions and billions of dollars goes through Amazon. These people are thinking at the top. All they have to do is defeat us, to play the game, to battle, to wait it out, and to commit heinous act after heinous act and destroy our country. That's what they're trying to do, folks. We don't have to give up, right? We don't have to. Jolene, what do we got next? We have Penelope Binkley with a $65 super chat donation. She says, have a shot. We have more meat in the freezer as of 30 minutes ago. Salud. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm glad you got more meat in the freezer 30 minutes ago. Looking at the time, knowing what time zone you're in, sounds like you got yourself a dusk shot. Bam. Could it be antelope? Could it be elk? Could it be deer? I don't know, but I'm glad you've got more meat in the freezer. Thank you, Penelope. And there are so many good people out here, folks, on this channel live right now that I get private messages from, well, during the show, and they make me laugh, like Paul, Big Paul up on the East Coast, and Penelope and Cottage Farm and Mr. Skylight. There's so many people that quietly send me messages, and I say, Semper Fi to you, always faithful, never give up. Man, elk is next month. Well, it would be deer then. You probably have 120 pounds of really high quality meat, about 20 to 30 pounds of questionable, what the hell do we do with this? Let's make sausage out of it. Deer jerky chunks. Anyways, I wish I could be there to have a nice backstrap steak or nice deer roast and chili. Anyways, Penelope, that's awesome. Where I'm at in the South here, there's deer, but it's not like it was back in the mountains. But I'll tell you what, I'll take freedom, I'll take warmth, and I'll take good people surrounding me that are waiting and wanting and willing to really fight for freedom and liberty. And I think I will. I think I'll end the show on that. We have some interesting specials coming up. We have some interesting offers, but there's nothing more interesting to me than freedom and liberty. I started the show by quoting President Reagan and freedom. Folks, there's a big difference today between the wealthy that live today and the wealthy that lived at the time of the Revolution. John Hancock was the wealthiest man in the American colonies, right? He could have been like the World Economic Forum, right? He could have capitalized his fortunes and worked with the English to screw over America. Thank you, Jolene. But he didn't. Instead, he chose freedom and liberty. He chose honor. Right? He became a distinguished figure and name. John Hancock, right? And now it's a financial institution. That's how we know of John Hancock on a day-to-day basis. But he was the guy who signed his name on the Declaration of Independence so largely. He was so ostentatious, so belligerent, right, that he wanted the King of England to be able to read his name without having to put on his spectacles, without having to set his glasses. And they had glasses back then on the end of his nose to read his name. That is John Hancock, folks. A wealthy man, the most wealthy, who did not sell us out. Unlike the wealthy men today who have joined these derelicts, these inbred morons that think they run the world. They can't ever really own you, folks. Only if you allow yourself to be controlled can you be owned by them. Jolene says we've got another super chat donation. So what do we have? Who wants to step in? It is none other than my friend. And I call him that honestly because he's been here and you guys see his donations every week. And behind the scenes, he's worked with me, and many of you have, and talked to me and let me know what you think and how you feel. And I appreciate you, Mr. Skylight, really, all that you've done and continue to do for everyone. Folks, he does more than you realize. Many of you do more than everyone else realizes behind the scenes on the Prepared Mind Network and at the rsyndicate.com. The amount of effort and care and consideration and this fight that we are truly winning. Don't let them dissuade you. Don't let them demoralize you. They're not winning. They'll win little battles, but they're not winning the war. The only way they can win the war is if we quit, if we give up, if we quit trying, if we let them convince us that they're winning, then we lose. As long as you don't do that, we will win. Now, Mr. Skylight has this. It's a quote from the great Cicero. He says, "The closer the collapse of an empire, the crazier its laws." What a cynic. What a cynic. Cicero, a great philosopher, statesman, put whatever appellation you want to the name. It's very true. And Rome, the great empire of Rome is a classic example of an empire that collapsed under the weight of its psychopathy, its craziness, if you will. The closer the collapse of an empire, the crazier its laws. Are we not seeing the craziest of laws? The collapse of the empire, folks, is not the empire. The collapse is not the empire of freedom and liberty. It is the empire, folks, of the insane socialist mentality. They are the ones who are collapsing, not you and I. Freedom and liberty is eternal. The collapse that is occurring now is that of the political socialist mentality. As they gain power, they near their collapse. They become drunk on the blood of saints and martyrs and the righteous. Understand your history, your philosophy, your wisdom, your scripture. The closer the collapse of an empire, the crazier its laws. Folks, the Republic of America, the republic that is freedom, is not crazy. Our laws are being subverted by the craziness that has assumed control. That assumption, that control by assumption, is socialism. And as it closes in on its collapse, it becomes crazier. We live within that. They have already taken control, folks. They're not taking control. They have already taken control and been in control for generations. And they are collapsing into a fit of craziness or madness, if you will, and stupidity and lawlessness and perversion. And they are collapsing. They are failing. They are now losing as the people wake up and will demand and take back our power, our rights, our freedoms. At the same time, they will battle against us to take away our voice, our freedom, our liberties, and our defense. That is the fight we're in right now. Shit has hit the fan. As they collapse, they're attacking us. They're attacking us as they collapse. And that is the fight we're in. Shit hitting the fan. Don't give up. The people are waking up and seeing this. We all see it. We all know it. We all recognize it. Many put their head in the sand or up their own asses. We, on the other hand, are waking up and continuing to tell people, check in, check this URL, wake up, right? We're using social media as our form of communication, mass communication, to take them on. Mr. Skylight, you just inspired me with Cicero. Thank you, brother. Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Penelope. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Dr. John. That's right. Dr. John is still out there. You're all out there. John, Shannon, John, everyone. You know who you are. Unfreaking believable. They are the ones collapsing mentally, morally, psychologically. They're collapsing into stupidity and craziness and madness. And they fail. But freedom reigns, folks, because it is not insanity. Freedom in our republic is not based on mental delusions and insanity and self-destruction and immorality and perversions. They are the ones who are failing. Their perversion never lasts. The Roman Empire fell, but freedom continued to live and exist after the Roman Empire. People lived freely. They were done with the empire. The empire of filth failed. The empire of filth today will fail, folks. Freedom will continue. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Semper Fi, always faithful. Never give up. Godspeed and God bless America and all who love freedom.